Hey, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How are you? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Sorry, people walking in and out.
Sure.
So, to start off this real quick, let's get a basic question out of the way, definition wise.
Actually, sir, you don't start. I do, because I have the
Well, I
burden of
know
proof, right?
you said you weren't going to do the whole
Then
debate. You said you were just going to shoot down arguments. That's why I'm trying to figure out. Do you want to
then I
do the?
said, I must have missed the part where I said "fuck it." Then and that.
Well, I know, but after that, you still said you didn't want to do the full debate. The next comment.
We're doing it right now. We're doing it right now. Do
Okay.
you want to listen or not?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. So there's a format to this debate. To start with, I'll lead. You'll have a rebuttal. I'll rebut that. You'll get a rebuttal. Then we can do questions. It's all going to be very simple and straightforward because I was hoping to do the debate Tuesday, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it now. I guess you do have that advantage, but this seems pretty simple to me. So should I go ahead and kick it off?
Let me grab a pencil and a paper.
Sure. It's only 45 minutes, so please be quick.
All right, ready on you.
Okay. Well, when I say discrediting fallacious statements plays a valid role in honest debate, I really think it's the whole point of having a debate, right? And because when we're debating, we're really truth finding, right? And even but maybe there's no way for us to truth find because we're just both going to disagree. So then we're just arguing. So the value and the second would just be figuring out where the weaknesses are. So if you have something that isn't true that can be proven to not be true, what's the point of arguing if that can't play a valid role? Because if you're not truth finding to figure out what the actual reason is, just like in a discussion, at least you're kind of truth finding to figure out what the problem with what you're saying is logically, or how it fits in, or or what the other person's side is. So there can't be a clear resolution. And that's what I really like about site is that it kind of creates these internet political discussions or what have you into a fair format, where some logical rules and some grounding can apply. So that's all I'm that's where I'm going with this. So you're welcome to rebut now, sir.
So the first part of my rebuttal is I'm going to give a definition of a fallacy, which is a mistaken belief, especially one based on unsound argument. The second thing I'm going to do is define debate. What most people consider debate and what I consider debate may or may not be the same, but this is the one that's going to be kind of the standard that we should use. A formal discussion on a particular topic in public meeting or legislative assembly in which opposing arguments are put forward. Now, given those two definitions, nowhere are we really trying to figure out who's right, who's wrong, or how discrediting a statement plays a valid role in an honest debate. Because in an honest debate, I debate topics that I don't necessarily agree with ideologically all the time. There's no reason to do it. Debate is a sport. So you can have a great debater go up there and he can wreck house in any situation that he has to be in. So there's no reason why that is. Now, the second point to that is in a debate, actually attacking the veracity and the validity of something is nearly impossible unless you're a major logician and you're able to use modal logic to destroy the argument and how it goes. We can both claim points of evidence and give our arguments from some empirical source, but unless the people listening to it are able to digest that information, there's no way for either side or someone to take that into consideration. So you're basically arguing from ignorance on the behalf of the consumer.
You're losing me at that last part.
So, okay, so I make a claim about some empirical economic evidence, right? I say that in the long run, due to the way the marginal revenue of this company goes, it's going to have this shutdown, which is going to lead to this shutdown, right? Now, I can make that argument, and the crowd will have no idea what's going on. Maybe the person I'm debating has no idea what's going on mathematically with the claim that I'm making. Is that a more valid claim than a claim made through one of the other portions of argumentation, whether it's ethos or whether it's pathos? From the
Are you saying where? I'm not trying to cut you off, but are you saying like where does validity come from? Is that what you're saying there?
Well, I'm saying in the debate, it's very hard. It's nearly impossible, especially in learned journals, to actually attack the validity or the veracity of a claim in an aggregate level for a debate. Debate is about elements of argumentation, not about taking apart claims and really getting to whether this is right or wrong or true or false.
The point is that it's just the argument itself.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want me to refute that, or do you have more?
Yes. We can just bounce back.
So this is my rebuttal to your statement.
Yeah.
Okay. The first thing I need to say is I really don't think you answered my statement very well. I don't know if you're familiar. Obviously, you mentioned ethos and pathos, so I assume that you're familiar with Plato and Cicero and all that sort of thing. So, and what they would say is basically what I said, that you're either truth finding or you're just kind of are the opposite, where the debate would be that neither one of us really, like, maybe we have different opinions about a side, but neither one of us have a valid conclusion about it yet. Like we're just trying to figure it out. And you do it all the time in business and that sort of thing. You don't even realize it, that you're just trying to get someone else's opinion, because, to not be one-sided. And that would be a debate. Whereas more of an argument is that we know we're never going to disagree. So the best we could do is just to figure out what the flaws are. Like I said, and I do think that there is solid validity because of statistics and just sequential reasoning, because really it just doesn't have to be a fact itself. It's just the reasoning adds up, kind of like a mathematical equation for logic. And I think most intelligent people, I understood most of these things when I was in high school. So I think most intelligent people could understand them too. And I think you were kind of trying to say that something could be like a slippery slope type fallacy. Like someone says, like, if we legalize marijuana, then everyone's going to shoot heroin tomorrow, type of thing. But that's not what you meant by it so much as you were just talking about the reasoning. You were talking about deductive reasoning, because that would kind of be a fallacious argument itself, where I'm trying to come up with reasons that are indirect, but we can subtract the things to believe that something would be true, as opposed to formal reasoning where they'd have to add together. And that's where a lot of logical fallacies come in, because they don't add together. So usually like the easiest one to pick out is ad hominem, because it could just be as easy as a direct attack. So the only thing that in that case that you would need to do is identify that. And I think most people who would watch the site would understand that kind of thing. So I'll go ahead and turn it back over to you.
Well, fallacies is really like my mainstay. It was one of the main things that I did in argumentative essays. So my ethos statement real quick is that I am a debater. So I debate in regional. I have done some national competition time. And I also write argumentative essays and op-eds quite often. I go out of my way to go do that. That's just the ethos statement, especially when it comes to the fallacies. Now, when it comes to fallacies, you say most people can pick up on them. Well, like, take the ad hominem fallacy, right? So if I call you a cocksucker, is that an ad hominem fallacy? No, it's not. It's not a fallacy at all. I'm just insulting you. I'm just calling you a cocksucker. That doesn't stop your argument. I'm not attacking your argument by calling you a cocksucker. I was like, I can't. Ad hominem is like, nobody should listen to Julian because he's a cocksucker. That's an ad hominem fallacy. Now, me calling you a cocksucker does not stop your argument from being right or wrong, or whether the people listening, the people judging the argument, have to take that into consideration, and they shouldn't. So that's one thing when it comes to like something as simple as the ad hominem fallacy, especially online where it gets slung around like it's going out of style. Same with straw man and those basic. But there's far more than just your basic nonchalant ones. You know, you've got your fallacy of composition, then you've got the different lanes for what that fallacy of composition for what that section are. And when it comes to you know, again, back to that argument versus debate, they're not different. A debate is just a sport, like I explained earlier, is a sport between two arguments. Again, in sections where you're having learned articles and learned journals having a statistical warfare, sure, you can have that. But in a debate between the wage gap, right, whether you believe in it or not, it's a statistical battle between the two. And there's no way, unless I'm willing to pull up my R program and show you a regression model between men and women to be true, there's no way that our arguments, unless we're, you know, taking it from an authority, are valid. We are not arguing the veracity of the claim. I'm arguing my argument is stronger than yours despite your claims versus mine. So trying to say that the validity of the veracity and pointing out fallacious statements in an argument, they're part of a role in the sport of debate to some extent, but for the most part, you're not even going to find that in most tournaments that people even care about those.
Okay. Is that the summary of your statement, sir?
Yes.
Are you there? That's the summary of
Yes.
it? Okay. So do you want to go ahead? Let's go ahead and get into questions then, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up. Sound good?
Okay, that's fine.
So I have a couple questions for you, and of course, we're not just two, and then you'll have. I'm sure we still have plenty of time, so you'll have a chance to ask me. Hopefully, not more than just 2 or 3 questions as well. How I know you. How do you believe a debate is grounded?
Can you define grounded?
Well, I mean, what should the person who's watching this, like, how do they draw a conclusion? Like, what would be a fair way, like, since we're both taking time out of our day to talk to each other, what's a fair way to draw a conclusion?
I actually have a really good answer for this, and this is something I apply to everyone on the site. I'm rather new here, but like I said, it's part of debate, and it's something I love. It's something I do partially for a living. And there's the 7 virtues of a debater, and really you apply those 7 virtues of debate to being a judge, right? So I'm going to give you a brief list of what they are. The ability to collect and organize ideas, the ability to think and speak in outline terms, the ability to subordinate ideas, the ability to evaluate evidence, the ability to see logical connections, the ability to adapt, and the ability to speak convincingly. So as a person who's watching this debate and is trying to judge these debates, these are the 7 virtues that you want to judge by. Again, a lot of people on the site choose to judge based on their own ideological position, which I do not. My ideological position is absolutely irrelevant to anything I debate. For instance, I debated Nelson LaPlante, I think that's how you say his last name, on socialized medicine. I'm absolutely against socialized medicine, but I took the debate as I believe socialized medicine, and I think I did fairly well. Now, granted, it was a bit off the cuff, and it was something kind of fun and cheeky, but the point that I'm driving is that these are how you should ground a debate. These are how debaters should act, and based on those 7 virtues, that's how people should judge a debate and understand what the debate is trying to say and what a debater is trying to say.
Okay, but if it walks like bullshit, sounds like bullshit, and smells like bullshit, why not just call it bullshit?
Well, again, what is bullshit? So me and you have 2 very different viewpoints for what we're going to argue for. Like, again, go back to medicine. He had a Kantian ontological view of it, right? I was not going to take that position. I attacked from a consequential position.
Okay, well,
So
what I'm saying, what I'm trying to say here is that I don't, how is it fair is what I'm trying to say. Because it has to be fair in some way. And, I am just learning this, but I know that they're really, that people do, they write books about this sort of thing and what the ethics of a debate are and that sort of thing. But, I'm just learning, I'm an artist and I'm just learning this thing. And, what I appreciate about it is that I can apply these things to my life. But I'm kind of getting into my final argument, so I don't know if you have if you had questions for me, and so just go ahead.
okay, so my question for you is the inverse of the question you asked me. What do you think should be grounded into the debate, and how someone should judge a debate?
Those rules, the rules of fair debate, the ethics of debate as they're defined in the manuals. I believe the manual that I'm studying is it's called Attacking Logical Fallacies or something like that. I can post it on here, but the whole first chapter is about basically like why should we even talk to each other? How do we arrive at a valid conclusion, and how to search that in the discussion, and what how you can take things of value out of it. And I've even so that would be my reason there.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, that's a solid point. That's something that more people should take into, especially when it comes to like these funny informal debates, because really ultimately they are rather informal. There's very little like guidelines behind them. Like you don't have like set standards times.
Completely.
You're not coming in like so if I wanted to, like I have most of my debate, all my debate work that I've done for 3 years, right? If I wanted to, I could pull up my verbatim account, which is an account you go through Word, and it lets your school system or even your regional system all post debate and debate platforms, propositions, claims, negatives, ways to attack certain arguments. I could literally just pull that up and read off my list for my verbatim rather than do extemporaneous.
It's very interesting. You know what I get from that is that we both have a different intent here, and it's kind of anecdotal. Like we both have a different expectation here, and I'd love to win a tournament, but honestly, like I said, I'm just here to test my own reasoning for one, and just to get better at the art of speaking, and that really is what even Plato would say debate, or Cicero would debate. It's about speaking, and I've really learned a lot about speaking, and even as an artist, we kind of debate all the time. And I was just thinking, like, there really isn't a valid way to have an argument about art.
Right.
So
right, especially with subjective terms, and like anything that's going to be on this website, or for the most part, they're all subjective. That's why you use those 7 virtues of debate. That's why when you have debate sheets when you're at actual debate tournaments, and like one of the main points, like right. So I made, and this is just off cuff, I made definitions. You never refuted those definitions. That's a serious flaw in any argument because my definition stands. I've actually lost a legitimate. I lost a regional tournament semifinals over this. I argued much better, but at the end of the day, I did not refute one definition that they made, and it was over nuclear war, or how countries should have nuclear warheads or not, and things of that nature.
And I made the mistake on the site. I made the same mistake on the site. I'm not going to say what debate it was, but I was using logical fallacy, and the person actually a great way of convincing me that I was doing that, and they had a better way of explaining it than I do because they obviously had more experience.
Right, and to go back to the logical fallacy, because that gets thrown around quite a bit, especially. But you have to understand when you go to like high level debates, like logical fallacies are a part of an argument. They are. And here's the thing. So if I make a logical fallacy and you start calling out, like, let's say I make 4 logical fallacies in a row, and you're calling out all of them, you're like, oh, that's a logical fallacy, that's a logical fallacy, that's a logical fallacy.
I know, but the thing is, I don't do that. That's kind of an ad hominem attack. And the other thing is that if the other person has the burden of proof and I just have to shoot it down, that I think is, and I'm saying why it's bullshit. I can just call it bullshit, and it can be convincing. And it's sure, that's part of why this would be good for business, is that if I know I'm bullshitting somebody, I know to be good at it. So,
Right.
not that I do that.
So,
I don't do it.
The point I'm trying to make here is something for this side is that stay away from calling out logical fallacies unless you can legitimately go, that is a logical fallacy because this is proposition A to the proposition B. So, okay, I'll make a quick point. I'm a Christian apologist. That's one of the main reasons I got into debate. Right. So, someone could say that the Kalam's cosmological argument is a fallacy of composition because the fallacy is that the universe does not have to act in a way compositionally the same as anything inside the universe, right? That's a fallacy of composition to assume that the universe acts in the same
right. We had a whole debate about it.
To the universe, right?
Yeah,
or to everything inside.
I had a debate about how it was non-insequential, and so I know about it. And I actually got a lot better at explaining why I was insequential through the debate.
Right. So, but here's the thing. That statement alone does not justify enough the statement or the claim that is a fallacy of composition, because you have to, because burden of proof is on you. Once you make the claim that it is
it could be on me
but
it could be on me, but in the case of the debate I had, it wasn't on me. So that it's not all. It doesn't always work that way.
Right. What I'm saying is that when you make the statement, that is a logical fallacy because you have made a positive claim towards what something is. You have to refute or explain why that is, and you can't just say it is because of A and B. It has to be. It is a logical fallacy of composition because the assumptions made in this model based on these parameters is compositionally different than what it would be in there. Therefore, their logical thinking of their assumption is that.
Sure, there's rules that apply, but I don't think that means that it doesn't play a valid role.
I'm sure to some extent it does, but the time that you have in these debates versus the time it takes to make a better argument, you have to weigh your options on which one is more important. I'm not going to call out everybody's fallacy. It's absolutely useless.
Yeah,
what I am going to do
that's the difference, though. I think here is that as an amateur debater, it's much harder for me to identify it. So when I'm listening to someone's presentation, it's kind of better just to say. I mean, you're just kind of say bullshit, even though 5 minutes later, you're gonna think, man, I wish I had said that. And one of the things that I know about these debates is that really you kind of do have a plan written down, because no matter how clear it was in your head before then, you just won't think of it because the experience and watching it are just two different things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I think most of these debates should be done extemporaneously. I think going and writing and doing all that for your debate is not really going to make you an on-point debater better.
It's never been. I think, but I mean, okay. The thing is, I know that you attacked me on a debate, and I had a complete thesis that I couldn't even finish because the person wouldn't even let me finish it. They kept cutting me off. And I only time that I just say that you're using a logical fallacy was when they used ad hominems, and they were mean ad hominems. They were basically insults. I mean, I don't have a problem with that person. I wish them the best, and I legitimately just want to be friends with them. But we get along. But they did say some things that were mean, and that's the only time I called them out on that. Otherwise, I explained all the reasoning, and we actually talked for 2 hours. So if you're saying that it needs to be grounded somehow, and you need to be good at saying it, I agree with you, because the people who are watching it don't have this experience. They wouldn't know that. So how could I disagree with you?
Right, I understand what you're saying, and secondly, I'm trying to stay on the debate topic. I'm not going to push you on why this became a.
I'm just trying to answer your question, sir. I'm just answering your question. I'm answering your question, and it does go back to the debate. How does it go away from the debate topic?
No, what I'm saying is that I'm not trying to go away from the debate topic by leading down that path, talking about your problems with someone else for for your anecdote, right? So
Well,
I
it was
personally,
anecdotal, but it was anecdotal.
right. Personally, those things are a non-issue to me. Okay, so this is my next question. So you have a data, a warrant, and a claim, right? Of those three, which do you think is the most important part of an argument?
A data, a warrant, and a claim. Well, I mean, like you
Yes.
said, it really goes back to three things. You know, how you present the argument, what the facts are, and how credible you seem to the person who's watching it. And for me, I
Right.
mean, personally, it's and this is what I'm getting. This is what I get out of it. This is why I debate, and this is what I look for. It really has all to do with the content. It doesn't have to do so much with the merit of the person, because like someone might say that the mainstream media is bad, or that a certain media channel is bad. So I try not to give any too much merit to anyone. Choice would be the example.
Okay. Okay, I understand your point. I'm going to say that the warrant is the most important thing in the debate, right? So you can have data and you can have a claim, but without a warrant, no one's going to listen to you, right? So
what do you mean by a
to
warrant?
give an example,
What do you mean by a
okay,
warrant?
I was going to give an example. An example. So let's say, give me 2 seconds. I'm actually going to, well, never mind. I'm on the wrong computer. So a warrant is, we're having this great debate today about the validity of discrediting fallacious statements plays a valid role in an honest debate. I, Joe Fowler, I do not agree with this statement. Why do I not agree with this statement? That why leads my warrant, right? So with my warrant, I can make my claim, but I have to have a warrant for the attack. I have to have a reason. I can have all the data in the world and I can have a claim, but if I don't have a reason, it's useless.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So that's what I'm trying to say. So the warrant is so important, and yet it gets left out a lot of debates because it's a motivating factor behind the development for the underlying reasons or assumptions of yours and others who are debating the topic. And so without that motivating factor behind it, I mean, you're at a standstill. This is your data versus my data. That's not a debate. It's not an argument.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I don't really disagree with you about this thing about data. These just sound like logical fallacies to me. And yeah, I mean, of course, to the person who's watching it, how credible I sound and how good I sound is obviously is going to be part of their judgment. But when you say warrant, you say the intent. So it really wouldn't be a logical fallacy if I had a valid intent. But the thing is, if there isn't a credible, if I'm just trying to discredit you, and I can't really give reasons, then that's a logical fallacy because it's insequential. Right. And it makes it difficult to really have like an honest conversation in any situation.
Right. So, do you got a question for me?
Oh, I just had those two questions. I can go ahead and finish up if you want, and you'll have the final say. And you'll get to go ahead and finish. And unless there's something that you say I think is kind of misrepresenting my argument that we would need to talk about, I won't say anything. And if I do that, that will be in a 2-minute video, and you'll have a chance to respond to that as well. Sound good?
That sounds fine.
Okay, so I think our conversation really has been very anecdotal. It's like, why do we debate? And I can kind of see how this happened, how we're both here, because I'm somebody who, I'm an artist. I'm not a political science major, philosophy major, and only time I've done any kind of debate or debate tournament is actually on Qual Out. And the thing that I liked about it, the reason I wanted to do it was, is because of just like you said, how ridiculous these conversations are through text about subjects where the two people don't listen to each other and attack each other. So this whole idea of just being able to talk it out, and just talk face to face, that sounded really cool to me, and I've always liked debating, so that's why I'm here. But I understand that you're here for other reasons, and I can appreciate that. So I think our difference here is very anecdotal. But for me, I think what it comes down to and why this is important for me is that if I'm going to take the time to listen to you for 45 minutes and then, you know, all the things that can happen afterwards with the comments and everything, I just want it to be worth my time. I don't want to listen to bullshit. And if it's bullshit, all I have to do is tell you bullshit. And, you know, as an amateur debater, it's really, I think that's really important, is that you know you're going to the conversation. The only thing you have to do is shoot it down. And the people aren't going to vote for you if you're not convincing. And I've never had the only experience I had where I wasn't convincing was when I was using a logical fallacy that I was using some poor deductive reasoning in those experiences that I didn't understand. So when I left knowing that, and I learned from it, and that's why I appreciate having the conversation. So it's not really a sport for me. It's so much as it's an experience, but it could certainly be a sport for someone else. And, you know, and if it's a sport, for you, that's fine. You know, I should be proud then to take you on. And, but I really think it's just important that there's some rules and some grounding, and it really helps. It could even just kind of help the audience, because they understand why that's bad reasoning, and they can learn how to explore the content. Because the media are not, maybe I'm not going to say the media is bad, but they could, you know, you need different sources, and you need to kind of question your own, like the same way you would in business. You need to question your own reasoning, and you need that second opinion, and or at least you need to know, you know, why your sale, how to sell better and how to pitch better. And that's what the experience is for me, and that's why I argue. And when I take the time to talk to somebody, I appreciate that they respect that as well. So I'm just gonna turn it over. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you.
Okay. So I want to thank you, and I want to thank everybody else for watching this debate. This is very fun. Like I said, this is something I take rather serious, but it's also something that I enjoy and love. It's definitely a part of my being. Between being a Christian apologist and constantly arguing with atheists, or just you know, being a typical right-wing person in academia, because I'm also in academia, that's something that comes up a lot. And the foundations of my personality revolve around debate. That being said, I'm going to go over some things. First, I'm going to go over how I define fallacy as a mistaken belief, or especially one based on unsound argument, and debate, a formal discussion on a particular topic in a public meeting or legislative assembly in which opposing arguments are put forward, and that the debate, the claim of debate, is made typically as a sport, which is what we do. This is a sport. So with that being said, the points that I made is that we cannot, for one, attack the legitimacy, veracity of any debate, for the simple fact that not only can one person not tell what these are, secondly is that there's only an argument from ignorance or an argument from authority to be made. We're not able as debaters to attack the veracity or the validity of any claim as to whether it's fallacious or not, because that is not our job. That is not our goal. Our goal is to have a better argument and to debate the topic better. Secondly, the standard of what is invalid and what is valid is subjective. Now, as long as it's subjective in this manner, we're going to get nowhere. We're only going to say that your argument's invalid versus my argument is valid because of subjective reasons. That is not a solid platform for debate. So discrediting something on that is not going to get us anywhere. Third is that it's not the most important task of a debater to even point at our own data or other data. It's really our claim and our warrant and how well we can argue those, and and attacking fallacious statements and things of that nature takes away from the debater and from the argument itself, where we're not getting anywhere except running around committing the fallacy. And with that, I would like to once again draw to a close my arguments. I would like to thank Julian a lot. I'm sure you're going to have a couple of things to say about some of the things I said. I'd like to thank everybody watching a lot. And
Well, I've already answered those things I believe is anecdotal, and I definitely appreciate your time, sir, and thank the audience for watching.
peace, love, war.
No war.